Good morning, welcome to this weekly market update from AGM Markets. Today is the 11th of July 2014. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Euro dollar, cable, dollar Swiss, Aussie and gold. Just going to review what's been going on in the markets this week. Normally do these videos on a Tuesday, but we had some technical difficulties on Tuesday, so did it on a Friday. So it's going to be more of a review style video, but we'll analyse some of the moves. And hopefully you'll learn something from it. I will not make any trade calls or recommendations in this video. You do trade at your own risk. If you could please read a full disclaimer on our website at www.agmmarkets.com, that would be most appreciated. For any new followers out there, we have 3 moving averages on each of these charts. So the red one's a 50 simple moving average, the gold is a 200 simple, and the purple is 100 simple moving average. Okay then, so I've got blank charts on all of these ones as we review, so we'll look through all the time frames and go through them, and I'll show what's been going on in the markets. We'll be doing a video next Tuesday, so I'll give some sort of a small outlook for next week as well. Okay then, let's have a look at the euro dollar. So this is on the weekly chart. Let's briefly look at what's going on the weekly, what setups are still in play. So in terms of the recent price action, well, so last week's weekly candle, some would say it's a bearish candle, but it does have a bit of that's quite a bit of upper wick on that, not much lower wick, and it's a red candle. We did actually get closed below the 50-week moving average as well, but of course, we've had a few closes below here as well, and we've held up. And where have we been holding up from? We've been holding up from this fib here, and I mean, we don't normally look at the 38.2 on these videos. Normally just keep it simple. The 50% and 61.8, they do tend to be better, stronger levels in my opinion as well. But it's just it just keeps it nice and simple with one sort of retracement zone. But anyway, I will pop this one up here, and you can see that's where we're currently finding some support. We've had a brief sort of bounce off of this level, pretty much 100 pip move, I'd say, from pretty much from the level up to that sort of high there of last week's candle. So you can see this week it's struggled to come up a bit. I mean, you can see it's come up a bit and formed a bit of an upper wick. So I would not be surprised to see it close below this 50-week moving average here, and then next week we may see a retest of this 38.2. But of course, it could still grind high. I mean, we don't have any high impact data coming out today. It's been fairly quiet in terms of data this week. We did have a FOMC out that week in the dollar, etc. Because I said there's no sort of in rush to do this sort of tapering. But anyway, yeah. So I would not be surprised to see this perhaps come back and test this perhaps next week, or it may just stay like this. But yeah, so nothing major in terms of this week, in terms of a sort of clear sort of pattern of where we're going to go into the next few weeks. It could still continue to sort of chop around maybe. But yeah, I do think the weekly close will be interesting. So that's the fib in terms of the upside, and then what have we been looking at is the fib towards the other side. And in fact, this is holding a 38.2 as well. I'll just zoom in a little bit more there. So this is the high, the fib from the high of April to, well, the high of the year to the low of the year, pretty much. And yes, we're currently holding off of this 38.2 here, so that comes at 1.3690, so just below the 137 handle there. So the bears are going to want to see this come down and press this 135.03 level. That has been quite choppy the last sort of couple of weeks, to be fair. Chopping, well, pretty much a 200 pip range for the last sort of 6 weeks, really, in between the 0% and 38.2% level. So if we get some sort of clear breakout next week. In terms of the shorter term time frames, what's going on this daily chart? So we've just spoken about that move there. You can see that a little bit clearer there on that daily chart. Nice candle action there. We had that 200-day moving average holding as well, and we've come back down here. But again, here we have another counter move, and this has been the sort of focus this week for a lot of traders, I thought. I'm just going to delete this 38.2 because that now doesn't really come into play. You can see, I think this may have been on Monday, yeah, the 7th. So we had, what we had here, so this is the move from the low of June to pretty much, I think that's the high, is that the high of June or was that the 1st? Yeah, so the low of June to the 1st of July. high you can see there. So nice uptrend, retracement down, and then bam, right off the 61.8% retracement, nice reversal candle, and we got a close above the 50% as well. And whilst I think it's interesting that we got the close above this 50% here, so you can see we grinded up a little bit, came back down, and as soon as we get that close above the 50%, it's now start to act as support. So you can see yesterday's daily candle was quite a heavy one, but we did close above this 50%. You can already see today's candle sort of come below the 50%, and now it's back above it. So it's starting to act as support. And also, there's a nice bit of confluence here as well, because you have this 50% level coincides the 136 level pretty much to the pip there. So nice confluence there, and you can see it's been acting as decent support. And then if you want to look at the even shorter term time frame, so you obviously got that big move there, and that's the main one really. But there has also been, so let's look at these smaller fibs here as well. They haven't been playing out sort of to the pip, but you can see sort of getting sold off at the 61.8 there. And also, well, the reason we've really come off there, I think, is we like to talk about the sort of 50 pip increments on here, and 136.50 there to the pip, lovely reversal. We've come back down, bam, to these 136s. So some really technical action going on this week. So that's that move, and then this other move on this 4-hour chart is this one here. We don't normally look at the 78.6 there, but it's just draw it up because these levels do play out, and you'll see why when this one pops up. Bam, right there off the 78.6. You've got these other smaller moves inside of these bigger fibs, so you can see that one there. We're sort of currently holding off of that one as well. But to keep it simple, just taking those two fibs on there, you can see these last sort of few days, it's been all about the 136.50s here. 136, nice little 50 pip range acting as nice support and resistance there. So multiple ways to trade here. You can look at the big fibs, you can look at the round numbers, they're all playing out very well. So there's lots of stuff there for all sort of time frames you can see. So, and I've just flipped it to the 1 hour here, and you can see a similar sort of thing, not as technical though in terms of where the candles have been closing, but you can see there that 78.6, lovely support there. And there's sort of one spot 35.92s there. So that's cable really. That's not cable, sorry, it's euro. Let's flip it to cable now. This is the weekly chart. What we've been doing, it's just still in grind high mode. It's been grinding higher and higher all the way from 2013. It's above. I mean, if you flip it to the monthly here, the only sort of, I don't know if we spoke about this in last week's video or not, but in terms of major resistance, the main sort of major resistance, because bear in mind we're above that 2009 high, these 2010 highs, etc. So in terms of fibs, the next major resistance, now that we're above the 100-month moving average as well, is this 50% retracement here. So this is the fib from the high of 2007 to the low of 2000, to the 2009, the January 2009. This 50% level comes in at one spot 73.30. So we're still about 200 pips away from that, but do bear that in mind. It looks like it's coming towards that level, to be honest. So do bear that in mind. Do not be surprised to see another sort of grind higher next week in cable. But this week's candle, you can, this month's candle is already not much movement. And this week's candle, you can already see it's been a fairly quiet week for cable, to be honest. Quite a small candle, just a little sort of tiny retracement candle, really. And that's not to be. That shouldn't really be a surprise because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullish candles in a row here. So the odds are, I always think, for some sort of a small retracement. That's what we've had this week, but nothing major. In terms of the fibs, remember what we've been speaking about on cable. Had that small one there. So bear in mind, this is the weekly chart, so obviously going to look bigger on the daily. So that small one there, nice little uptrend down to 61.8, rotated higher, and then you extend your high, extend the low. Bam, right off the sort of 50% there as well. So the next one to look at for in terms of the low is that one there. So we haven't got there yet, but it may happen next week or even the week after. All it'll take is some is a raft of sort of heavy cable data, and it should come down, but of course it can keep on grinding higher. So that's the fib that we're looking at, but of course we're still a way away from that. In terms of the sort of the daily chart, you can see this week it hasn't been a majorly interesting week in terms of sort of chart patterns or fibs, etc. It has just sort of been chopping around, but as you can see these lower wicks here, the buyers are still wanting to hold this up off this sort of 171 marker. Decent support area. Buyers still coming in at that level and trying to prop it up. We're speaking about those weekly fibs here on the daily. You can see, I mean, I've drawn them before, so that was the first one there, then that was the second move there with that low. So then all we're doing now is extending that low there and extending the high, so that's the fib to look out for on the daily. Interestingly as well, we have previous support at this 50% as well, and the sort of resistance here sort of coincides with that as well. It's also interesting to draw 169.50s. That coincides that sort of support as well, so keep an eye out on that. But of course we're still some way away from that. So really, I mean, in terms of this week, it's all been about the 171 handle. That's been the key support. You can see that nice and clearly on this 4-hour chart as well. I mean, in terms of, if we're looking at the smaller term, so I mean the 1-hour chart, it has been quite choppy. There's still been some interesting moves there. I mean, we've got this small trendline support playing out. Some interesting candles there, nice sort of long opportunities, sort of scalping opportunities, but yeah, not as interesting as the euro chart, but that's cable. Dollar Swiss on this weekly, what have we been talking about? What's been the focus? For me personally, I think a lot of other people as well, this sort of fib here from the low of the year to the high, last week's weekly candle, a nice bullish hammer. Reversal off of this 50% level, which came in at 0.8867s. This week's candle, it hasn't popped up, but you can see the buyers are still coming in on this. You can see a lower wick is starting to form on this candle, so it's just a sort of small retracement candle, really. Often happens after a hammer. So obviously we had a lot of buyers coming in, potentially banking right at the top there. Then so then obviously sellers coming in, and then, but I would not be surprised to see buyers come back in and push this hard towards this 50-week moving average. And then if we flip it to the daily, so obviously this is the same setup here. You can see with that lovely reversal candle off of there. I think that was last week, off that 100-day moving average as well. We've got that nice rotation high, and you can see it's getting stuck around these two moving averages here. But you can see the 200-day moving average, we had a nice daily close above that yesterday, so not be surprised to see that act as support today. And if we're looking at the smaller fibs here on this dollar Swiss, so this one here, if you think the market's going to come back down, this has been an interesting fib, because you can see. So I've just drawn this fib from the high of June to pretty much the low, or maybe in the 1st of July. This 50% level has been holding with a nice sort of reversal candle there. I mean, we did have a brief fake out close above, but we had a nice reversal there. We've come down a bit this week, so that was a nice sort of interesting move. You could have banked sort of 100 odd pips, etc. So sellers are looking to grind that lower, but you can also see, similar to euro, we've had the counter move here. So taking that low there and that high, you can see 50%. We had a couple of spikes low, closes above the 0.8907, so coincide with a nice round number as well, similar to euro. But just a few pips above the round number there, but a nice bit of confluence as well. So buyers in the smaller term, the shorter move, will be looking to grind that higher. So in between two fibs as well, in between the bigger fibs. So very interesting stuff here, nice and technical on dollar Swiss. Interestingly as well, I think this where we came off of this fib, similar to euro, coinciding with the round numbers as well. So that 89.50 there held along with that fib there. So nice confluence, similar to euro. So again, this week it's pretty much been inside a sort of 50 pip range as well. So not massive volatility, but in terms of day trading, there's definitely been some interesting sort of scalping opportunities on euro and dollar Swiss. The Aussie dollar on the weekly chart, nothing major of interest, to be honest. It has been quite range bound and has been quite choppy. I mean, we were speaking about this for a long while. This sort of the 0.92 level and the 0.94. I think it was 94.50. Well, it was 0.94 for a while, and then we got that sort of brief close above. So then it's all about just widening that range a bit to 0.9450s there. I'll just make this one 0.92 as well. You can see in between that sort of 250 pip range. Last week's weekly candle, you could say that is a reversal. Nice bit of upper wick there, nice red body, but there is a bit of lower wick. So you can see the buyers, there's quite a few buyers trying to prop this up still. And you can see that this week. It is a green candle, but there is a bit of upper wick on that as well. We did get the test of the 0.9450s, and that has held. So we're still in between this range. But yeah, I mean, in terms of last week's weekly candle, you would have thought that is still, it's definitely a bearish candle. I'd not be surprised to see it come back down over maybe the next couple of weeks back towards this 0.92. Of course, it is about the weekly close this week, but odds would say that we will close below this 0.9450s, and then it will sort of potentially rotate down towards like 92s next week. In terms of the daily chart, what's been going on? Well, remember we were speaking about this move here, so we're taking that low and then we took that high. So nice uptrend there, retracement down to 50%, we rotated higher. What has gone on this week is if you just extended that high to that swing high there and took the low, or I mean even take that low there actually, keeps it nice and simple. You can see it's a bit clear on the weekly as well. You can see we've had some support at this 50% as well. We did get it closed below, but you can see we had that support of the 50-day moving average, so that's where it came down to. That 50-day moving average acts as nice resistance there as well, nice support there, so key moving average to keep an eye out for. And that sort of propped it up this week, but you can see, surprise, surprise, we caught some resistance at the 94.50s yesterday. Quite a heavy sort of reversal candle, but there is a bit of lower wick on that. And buyers are trying to prop this one up still, but it's been very technical. And I'm just going to flip it towards a shorter term chart here. So I've just flipped it to the 4 hour, and you can see another reason why we're sort of getting propped up here is this sort of fib here. You can see, I mean, we did get close below the 61.8, but you can see here 200 SMA acting as support. We closed above 50%, came back down 61.8 to the pip there. And you can see we're trying to catch a bid here, but it is getting caught by the moving averages. So the moving averages are having a big say here on the Aussie, on most of the time frames really. And the other move, so we have that bullish move there, which is trying to grind high. But you can see another thing we've had this week is this the bearish move. The other side of the coin, we had some heavy Aussie data overnight. I think that may have been Thursday. So you can see here we got a spike up above the 61.8 and that 94.50s. Heavy Aussie data brought that down. Big reversal candle. You can see we had a couple of heavy sort of 4 hour candles there. Came back down. So interesting sell opportunities. But then again, you can see that 200 SMA hold. So it is quite choppy, but there's a lot of sort of scalping opportunities been there on Aussie this week. Gold, what's going on? It's still grinding high. We're above the 50-week moving average. There's no sort of major fibs in play, and I think the only one really is this move here, so that's the counter move. Well, in fact, is this one also a fib here? I can't even remember now. I haven't been paying that much attention to gold, to be honest with you, because I think there's been more interesting moves, well, especially Euro and Dollar Swiss, for example. So that move there isn't really off a fib. In terms of the support there, it's all about the sort of 1245s there. That acted as nice support. In terms of counter moves, so in terms of this weekly, nothing major of interest. We're above this 50-week moving average, and it has been grinding higher for the sort of last 6 weeks. You'd say, I mean, the odds would be that we'll probably get a test of these highs here, but we do have this counter fib move. So this is the swing high of 2014 to swing low of 2014. You can currently see we're testing this 61.8% retrace here. So I'm just going to delete the 78.6 just to sort of clear out. We're yes, you can see we're testing the 61.8 here, which comes at 1334s. So keep an eye on the weekly close. If we do get a weekly close below, then I'll not be surprised to see a sort of come back down here at the start of next week, or well, potentially towards this 50-week moving average. Then we could get some interesting sort of a sort of reversal off there potentially. So in terms of the shorter term move here, this is the daily. I've just drawn that same fib up. Interestingly, we have had a daily close above this 61.8, so keep an eye. If we do come down here a few pips, then keep an eye on this level, because we could get some interesting buying action. So that could be a bullish signal, but there is quite a bit of upper wick on that, so I'd not be surprised to see a retrace on here. But yeah, nothing major in terms of interesting setup wise. I mean, if we do get a big retracement here, then that's definitely a fib to keep an eye out for, that move there. So you got the two fib moves, and in terms of the levels, where are we coming off here at the minute? So in terms of key resistance, it's all about the sort of 1336 there. There's previous resistance around here as well, but that's pretty much it on gold. Nothing major to keep an eye out for there. Just wait for some interesting setups happening. There's two big fibs there, but I'll not be surprised. Well, it's a tricky one to call. It's very 50-50. That's why I prefer to look at the more sort of obvious charts like the euro and the cable. Much interesting fibs. Nice round number levels have been playing out quite well. Okay, then that's all for this week. Sorry the video is later than normal. We normally do it on a Tuesday. I will do a video next Tuesday, provided we have no technical difficulties here. I hope you've had a great week trading. Hope you have a great rest of the week trading. And a good weekend. I'll catch you next Tuesday. Thanks for watching.